Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for another art journal page start to finish. This time we're looking at week 17 for journal 52 and the theme this time is treasure. We're going to begin by using my Strathmore mixed media paper art journal, and I'm going to start by doing a double page spread, and I'm going to cover it completely with one of those sheets that I created from my experiments in jelly printing. Now this is one of the sheets that I created from the glass cutting mat, not from the actual jelly plate, because if you saw my experiments you'll know that the jelly plate that I tried to create didn't work. So this is the one, or one of the ones that I created from the glass cutting mat, and I think it looks pretty good as an under paper. So in a second I'm going to fold that in half so it puts a crease in, so that it makes the pages easier, or the book easier to close when I finish the page. So I'm just going to cover the other page with the matte medium and then stick it down and then give it a blast with the heat tool. So now finished with the matte medium, I'm going to take away the page protectors because they're not really needed anymore. The matte medium's almost dry, so I'm not going to get any glue or any gloopiness on the other pages, so they can come away now. So I'm going to trim off that excess from the page, just using a pair of scissors, and then we're ready to move on to the next stage for our art journal page. So just checking that everything's stuck down and everything is just about dry, there's no creases or wrinkles or bubbles in my underpaper. Okay, so this is a TCW stencil which is called Art Is, one of my favourites. This is my second stencil because I've worn the other one out, and I'm using an archival ink called Potting Soil, I think it's called, just with a blending tool. I'm just going to add that into strategic positions on my page. I say strategic, it's just random. I do like to grandiose things. So I'm adding it in 3 places across the page spread, creating a visual triangle. And I am trying to make sure that I go right up to the edge to hide some of those white edges. So having a bit of a closer look there. And then I'm going to bring in the TCW stencil called Chicken Wire Reversed. I haven't seen the non-reversed one, I've only ever seen the reversed one. It's a bit of a strange one there. Okay, I'm showing you again. I must have forgotten that I'd already done it, but there you go. This is a sponge dauber from Sukaniko, 3 in a pack, very, very useful, and this is the Firebrick Distressing. So once again, I'm going to go around the page, adding in the detailing with the sponge dauber in a visual triangle. So creating 3 separate areas, 3 separate instances of that pattern, just to add the balance or the asymmetry to the page. So next I'm going to be using one of the extra large bubble wrap stamps from my friend Bev Tonks at Be Crafty. Very, very good stamp manufacturer. They're very, very good quality. Very clingy, as you can see. It took me all the time to get it off the laminated sheet. This one's about A2 size, so A2 in American size, but A6 in British size. And I'm using Stormy Sky there, I think. I know I forgot to show it to the camera, but I will do that in a moment, and I'll remember to do that. So again, I'm going to go and stamp down in a visual triangle around the page. And I think actually I do 4 of these, not 3, because I think, yeah, Stormy Sky, there you go. I knew I'd forgotten to show you it. When I did it on the top there, I suddenly realised that I had a gap over on the right hand side of the page, so I decided to put another one in there. So it's kind of like a visual triangle, but not really a visual triangle, more a visual diamond, but I'm rambling, so I'll shut up. So that's about it for the background layer for my page. I'm pretty happy with the way that looks with the underpaper on there. I'm now taking 2 pages from an old book that actually was a present from Diane Reevely about 4 years ago. I've still got it and I still keep ripping pages out and using it. She does know I'm doing it. Never read the book though. So what I'm doing is I'm joining 2 of the pages together to create a larger piece, and then I'm going to sketch out with a pencil once I'm sure that the glue has gripped it. I'm going to grab a pencil and I'm going to sketch out the shape of a heart, and then I'll cut that out. So I'm just gauging the size of the heart that I want it. I want it to go over the 2 pages, so it will go across the crease. So it's going to go from the right hand side page over onto the left. So just cutting it out now with a pair of scissors. I could have used a craft knife, but hey ho, I could have done a lot of things. So there's my heart, and I'm just putting the crease in for the page so I know where it's going to be. And now I want to add some colour to it before I stick it down onto the page. So I'm going to grab a distressing. I think I'm going to be using the Firebrick again. And I'm just going to use a blending tool. There we go. I'm just going to swap it over for a brand new one. And I'm going to go around the outside of the heart, leaving some space in the middle. You'll see why later, but I didn't want to cover the entire thing. So I'm just going to go around the edges, blending it all in. Not too worried if I'm not getting an even blend, because you know I wanted it to look grungy. Just realised I didn't actually read what was on the pages, so there could be anything in there. There could be swear words and everything, so don't go trying to have a look. I may have missed a few swear words in there. Okay, so I'm now spritzing the entire piece of paper with water and giving it a good soaking. And what this will do is it will make the ink soak into the paper better, and it will blend out so there's no harsh lines. And I'm going to give it a blast with the heat tool. This does take a minute or 2, and it will start to curl, it will start to buckle, but it will even itself out. So if you use this trick, it's a way of evening out your ink. It kind of dilutes it a bit, it knocks it back, but it is one way of also ensuring that the ink doesn't run or reactivate again when you put something over the top of it later, which I will be doing. There you can see the colour change, it's starting to lighten up already. So I'm going to paint the back with the Ranger Matte Medium, which by the looks of that tub actually it's nearly run out. I need to get some more. So just giving it a liberal coating, and I'm painting the back before I put any on the front page because I want it just to soak in a little bit, and then I'm going to add it over the page there. Now bearing in mind that I've used Distress ink, so some of that Distress ink will have reactivated, but it's going to be hidden underneath the heart anyway, so I'll just give it a bit of a wipe so I can put the book down. And then I'm going to stick it in place on my page, making sure that I get it right into the crease there, so that the pages will close again, because if you don't, then you'll never get the book to close. So that's it, just putting the final crease in to make sure that it will close. Now I'm going to go over the top of the heart with the Ranger Matte Medium. Now can you see how none of the ink is moving? That's because I spritzed it first and then dried it again. Most of the ink has settled in and you don't get a lot of run when you add matte medium over the top once you've done that. So that is one way you can minimise the risk of it running into everything. Giving it a real good blast with the heat tool to make sure everything's stuck down, and I'm just getting rid of some bubbles there. You do get a little bit of buckling, but not a lot. So out comes the food ball and we begin outlining. So I'm going to go all the way around the heart. Now I'm not being particularly careful, I want it to look really sketchy, I don't want it to look perfect and even. So I'm going to go backwards and forwards over, adding in really sketchy doodly lines. And then I'm going to add in some faux, well, what I call faux stitches, but they're not really, they're just little interest lines. Just evenly all the way around the shape. And now I'm just giving the food ball pen a blast because, again, it does take a while to dry and I want to carry on working on the page. So I'm giving it a heat blast. Once it sets, that's it, it ain't going to move again. So now preparing the heart to add on my quotation strip. I'm going all the way over the heart again with the matte medium, and I've already printed and cut out my strips with my quote, not stamping this time. This time I've actually printed the quote off on my computer, and the font, if you're wondering by the way, is called Beyond Wonderland. It is a free font, you can get it for nothing if you do a search for it on the Tinternet, as we call it here in Yorkshire, where the puddings come from. So making sure it's all well stuck down. As you can see, none of the ink from the red heart is transferring, it isn't moving, it's pretty much sealed down. So once again I'm going to give that a bit of a blast with the heat tool, and at that point my camera died, so you didn't see me do the heat tool on that. So I'm now using some white acrylic paint from Do Crafts, which is the artiste range. This is just plain white. I've spritzed and added some water, and I'm just going to add some splatters all around the page. And we're pretty much done now, I think. Once this has dried, and I will get the heat tool on this as well, all I've left to do now is to sign and date it, really. But first of all, we've got to add our little borders around our little quote, just to make it pop a little bit, and blend that in with the rest of the black on the page. So just go around each of the word strips or the phrase strips with the black food ball, and I think we are definitely done now. So there we have it. All we have to do now is just put our date stamp, which I will do in the bottom left hand corner, and then sign it, and then that's it, finito. I just want to say thank you for bearing with me and watching my videos, and for all those lovely comments that you left me on the last video.